If you just got into a new relationship or you recently turned one around and don't want to end up back in that same place again, you're not in trouble right now, but you know how fast things can go sideways when a man stops setting the tone and leading. I wrote a book about exactly how to prevent that. And over the next 10 weeks, we're going through it chapter by chapter.
We're going live, baby.
We'll do it live.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host,
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer. He is a certified master life coach and NLP practitioner.
It's true. It's damn true. Happy Monday, guys. Hope you had a good Easter. If you are new to the channel, my name is Paul Bauer. I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about doing that is it tends to make us all better men in all areas of our lives. If you guys are watching on Kick right now, welcome. Welcome to the show. You guys are noobs. You've probably never even heard of this channel. But if you guys didn't hear, on Saturday, my new X account got banned as well. So it's not that big of a loss this time because I didn't even get up to 700 followers since the last ban. So I'm just letting X go. And since I now have an open spot on my streaming platform, I figured why not stream to Kick? So if you guys are on Kick right now and you're watching, drop that like button and follow because I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In this episode, we're breaking down chapter 1 of Keep Your Bish, the foundation chapter. And I titled this episode, Why Your Purpose is More Important Than Your Relationship, because that's exactly what most guys get backwards. Most men think a great relationship is something that happens to them. They find the right woman, treat her well, and everything works out. What they don't realize is that attraction isn't something she decides. It's something you either earn or you don't every single day based on who you are when nobody's watching. Today, we're going through 10 concepts from this chapter: confidence, purpose, frame, fitness, boundaries, why nice guys always lose, how to handle her tests, emotional control, and discipline, and what it actually looks like when a man has all of it dialed in at once. If you're in a new relationship and you want to keep it hot, or you already screwed one up and you're not trying to do that again, stick around, because by the end of this episode, you're going to understand exactly why your purpose has to come before everything else, including her. Now, chapter 1 of Keep Your Bish it's all about the foundation of a dominant masculine presence. And if you guys don't know, the late great R.P. Thor sort of came up with that, coined that term, right? A dominant masculine presence. If you guys haven't read his book, it's phenomenal. It's literally called The Dominant Masculine Presence, right? So get that on Amazon. But this chapter 1's all about maintaining that and what that looks like. Okay. Now, most guys have confidence completely backwards. Confidence isn't cocky. It's not loud or obnoxious. It's not really about proving anything. It's a belief that you can handle whatever comes, right? That's confidence. And that's what confidence looks like in a relationship, in a long-term relationship. Your woman really wants to know that you got things handled. And this is why we often talk about, women don't care about your struggles. They wait at the finish line and bang the winners, and don't bring your problems to your woman and stuff like that because she doesn't care. Largely, what it really comes down to, it's not that women are these heartless creatures, right? Women are inherently solipsistic and they want to be with a strong man, right? Women are security-seeking creatures that respond to strength. And I'm really oversimplifying women, but it's a good mental model to have and a good rule of thumb to understand women and sort of a framework to operate in, right? Women are security-seeking creatures that respond to strength. And so if you put off any kind of vibe that you don't have things handled, she starts worrying that maybe I'm not with my best possible option. Maybe I'm not with a guy who I thought was strong. Okay. But if you're decisive, if you're assertive, if you set the tone and lead, and you do all those things, and if problems do arise, and you have good emotional control, and she sees that doesn't bother you, that bad things happen, she feels more safe and secure in the relationship. She's willing to enter your frame because she sees it as confidence. You're confident enough to handle anything. Okay. So the problem is that you can't think your way into it. You can't buy it. You have to earn it through doing hard things repeatedly. Okay. And every man who seems naturally confident just has more reps of following through on his word, making decisions, actually handling stuff. You know, the thing is that the more you deal with struggles in life, the more you realize I can handle stuff, right? That builds up durability. Okay. Now that's one thing that Thor talks about in A Dominant Masculine Presence is the difference between emotional resilience and emotional durability, right? Emotional resilience, a good example of this, if you guys read, so Thor's book, A Dominant Masculine Presence, is a whole series. So his book is the first one. And then there's a whole series after that called The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence, which I wrote the first book in that series, Psychology Paradigm. But a guy named AJ, who's one of my dragon brothers, wrote one called The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence, Psychology, Emotion. And it's all on emotional durability. And the way AJ describes emotional durability is it's where you get to a place where like emotional resilience is where you take the punches and then you get back up. Right? You get back up after you take the punches. That's emotional resilience. But emotional durability is you've done that so much that the punches don't even faze you anymore. Right? You get punched in the face and you just shake it off because now you're emotionally durable. Right? It's like when you get your second Twitter account banned in a couple of months and you go, whatever. I'll roll with the punches. I'll move over to Kick. I don't give a shit. You can't stop this train, baby. Anyway. So you guys get the point. Okay. So the first idea in chapter 1 of Keep Your Bitch is confidence and how you need to build up this confidence if you expect your long-term relationship to last and be effortless. Okay. It's not going to be effortless. You got to put some work in, but once you put the work in enough, it becomes a part of who you are and it becomes effortless. You understand? A lot of these MGTOW guys are like, I don't know, man, the juice isn't worth the squeeze on that. It's like, well, if you just squeeze the juice enough, you don't have to squeeze the juice ever again because it's just how you are. The juice naturally comes out. Okay. By the way, guys, I mentioned it before, but I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. Would you? Especially if you're on Kick and you're new to the channel. I have 0 followers on Kick and we need to build that up. So the episode today, right? Like why your purpose is most important. The thing is that most guys in life don't have a purpose. And when guys first get into learning this stuff and they hear about purpose and how important it is to have a purpose and a mission in life, they immediately associate it with their career. You know, like because guys really have this fundamental idea that women only care about money, right? So they're like, oh, well, you know, my purpose in life is my career. If you guys are really honest with yourselves, most of you guys hate your job. Most of you guys do the job because it's a paycheck. It you know, you pay the bills with it, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. But you don't really love what you do. Very few people do what they do because they actually love it, right? It's just this is what everyone does. Everyone finds a career that pays well, but they secretly hate it. Okay, so when I talk about purpose, it's not necessarily your career or your job or whatever. Okay, it's finding something that motivates you to get up in the morning. Your purpose, for a lot of guys, like if you're trying to turn a dead bedroom around, your purpose is to level up and become the best version of yourself, to give yourself the best shot at potentially turning your relationship around, right? A lot of you guys who are dating after divorce or whatever, your purpose, a lot of you guys, your purpose is to find a new chick, right? So you have all these side missions that will get you to whatever that goal is, like maybe going to the gym. Maybe it is, getting a better job and making more money or whatever, but your purpose is whatever this end state is, right? For me, my purpose is helping men level up and get better with women, and the funny thing about that, not that it makes us better men in all areas of our life, but the funny thing about specifically making this my purpose was that's why I started the podcast, and largely it started off as I wanted to do this podcast so that I'm always keeping this stuff on the forefront of my mind so that I never fall back into complacency again. Okay. And that's 100% what Keep Your Bitch is about. It's about never falling back into complacency. Okay. And so my mission became to start off doing that. And then I realized how this podcast and then eventually my books and then eventually like my men's group and coaching and stuff like that started actually helping men. And that really started becoming a fulfilling mission for me. When I started seeing the transformation of other men through my work, that became my mission. Like that gets me up in the morning. I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is I start working on this stuff. You guys see me shit posting in the morning on social media. First thing in the morning, I'm doing like dumps and stuff in the morning. That's because I'm trying to grab guys' attention to get them over to the podcast so that we can actually help men level up and get better with women, and which transforms them in all areas of their lives. Okay. So that's my purpose. You need to find something like that. A good example of that that I like to use on the podcast a lot is years ago, because I used to work in IT. I used to be an IT director for a company. But before that, I was working for a company doing help desk, and then I got promoted to systems administration. And there was a guy there that I'd known for years. We worked at a previous company, but he was our desktop tech. Serge. Shout out to Serge. Serge, one day he and I got to talking because at that time, like IT was my purpose. I fucking loved IT shit, right? I wanted to level up and really get up, learn everything there was to know about IT and shit, right? I love that stuff. I still do. I still fuck with it. I just don't do it for a living now. This actually, I get less gray hairs working with men, right? But Serge, one time we got in this conversation and he said, "Oh no, IT is just a job for me." He goes, "What I love, when people ask me what I do, I tell them I'm a musician." Like for him, being a musician, and he was a drummer in a local band in San Diego, and they would travel up and down the coast on the weekends playing gigs, and that's what he loved. That's what his passion was. That was his mission. Okay, so I would invite you guys to find something like that, something that really drives you, that motivates you, that makes you, like maybe your job is just a means to an end for that, but that's what drives you. Okay, you need to find something like that, because without it, you're just drifting through life. And the thing is, a lot of things about women is they want to hitch their wagon to a horse that's going somewhere. And a lot, like I said, a lot of guys really automatically equate this with money, and it's not. It's just that you have something you're passionate about that you're working towards, and women find that extremely attractive. Okay. So if you don't have that, and a lot of guys don't, like I said, most guys don't, especially married guys, right? Married guys tend to think that they've reached this mythical finish line. They've gotten into a relationship. A lot of guys, like, they think they've gotten into an LTR and they think that's the finish line. And then other guys think, oh, it's not the finish line yet. The next step is marriage, right? So it's like, this is how a vast majority of nice guys look at relationships. They go, it's an escalation of you go dating, then you become exclusive, then you move her in with you, then you put a ring on it, and now you're done, right? And then for everyone, like, that's the next step. And for years, even guys in the original 3% man group that I came out of, they would ask me, when I put my date updates, and there are relationship updates, because I've been with Nurse Chick going on, I don't know, 6 years now. I would put my relationship updates, and guys would always go, "So when are you taking the next step?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? What's the next step?" And they're like, "Well, when are you guys moving in together?" Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not moving nurse chicken with me ever. She comes over and she stays with me every other week, but she has her own house and I'm not changing that. Like I like it that, when like every other week she goes back to her house. Right. And I'm sure she likes it too, that every other week she goes back to her house and we get some time away and get some time to miss each other. Right. But when you move a chick in, that's really when a lot of complacency starts, because a lot for guys, it's like, oh, well, I don't have to go out and get pussy anymore. I got the pussy at home, right? I don't have to go out to eat. I got the pussy right here. It's like, that's when they fall into complacency. Okay. So you can't do that. And you got to have a mission in life that you're focused on instead of her. And that's the next concept. And then after that, you have frame, this concept of mental frame, which Friday's episodes of the podcast are 100% dedicated to mental frame and working on your mindset. And the thing is that most guys have never even heard of that concept, right? Most guys, especially average nice guys, they don't understand that frame is everything in a relationship. And you always got to be cognizant of whose frame you're operating in. And what do I mean by frame? A good example, especially when you want to look into an LTR, a long-term relationship or something like that. One of the best illustrations of what that looks like in a relationship is in the book, The Way of Men with Maids by Giff Lasta. He's a really good dude. It's if you're not a Christian, you might not like the book because it's a Christian relationship book, but it's got all the red pill stuff in it. That's why I talk about it a lot. But he describes frame like a shell, right? Like a clam shell, and your woman being the pearl that wants to rest in that shell. That's what it means. Like, that's what it looks like when she feels safe and secure and she thinks you're strong enough. She wants to be the pearl that rests in your shell. And she wants you to do the deciding. She wants you to lead the relationship. She doesn't want to make decisions. She wants to follow your lead. That's her natural feminine instinct, to find a strong man that she can submit to. Now, feminists hate that. They hate that narrative. They will fight tooth and nail against it. But give me the most bossiest of boss babes in the world, and I guarantee that's exactly what they're looking for in the relationship. And when they don't get that, their natural instincts are like, I don't understand. I don't know. This guy's a pussy, right? This guy's not strong enough. He's not strong enough to inspire me to want to submit. That's why you hear a lot of these feminists say, well, for the right man, I would. For the right man. They're not lying, because a guy with strong frame would be that right guy. Okay. So you need to work on that. Okay. Frame is the invisible force that really sets the tone in every interaction. Okay. And people can feel it. They can feel when they're entering in someone else's frame. Okay. And most men, they don't lose frame in a big dramatic sense. They lose it slowly by reacting to everyone else's emotions. This is why having good emotional control is paramount. Okay. It's one of the three pillars that build up to support your vision. And all three of those pillars in your vision are what makes up your whole entire mental frame. If you guys read Ryan Stone's book, Praxeology Volume 1 Frame, he really goes into it, the tetrahedron of frame. And it's kind of like a tripod, right? You have your emotional pillar, your intellectual pillar, and your physical pillar. And if those are weak, your vision's not going to be strong enough. Your woman's not going to want to follow your lead. Okay. So you got to work on all of those areas. And then when your vision is, it means you know what you want. Okay. You know what you want in a relationship. We just did that exercise. We did a pod class over the weekend for my men's group, the Wolf Pack, on Saturday, an exercise on figuring out what you want in your relationship. Because most guys don't know. Most guys have no clue what they want in life. They tiptoe through life hoping they make it safely to death, and they have no idea where they're going. And the thing is if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there, right? So what do most guys do? They get into a relationship. They've been taught their whole life, happy wife, happy life. And they just defer everything over to their wife. And they leave all the decision-making up to their wife. Like, where do you want to go to eat tonight, babe? Right? And, oh, I don't want to pick the place because I'm going to pick the wrong place, right? You're leaving all those decisions up to your wife. And she doesn't want to make those decisions. That's why women never know where they want to eat, right? It's very simple. Okay. So let me ask you guys this. Do you have a clear mission you're working toward, or are you still figuring that out? Okay. No judgment either way, because not everyone's on the same level, and that's okay. Okay. So are you still figuring out what your mission, your purpose is? Or are you still like, is your mission right now to figure that out? Right? Let me know in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, drop a comment below. Okay. So your body, the physical pillar, it's really the first thing that you have absolute control over. Okay. And it's the first thing that you can start working on, that you're going to start seeing noticeable results. If you're consistent with it and you're following a good diet plan like that, you're going to start seeing results within a week. Okay. And then when you start seeing results with this stuff, it creates a positive feedback loop that keeps you motivated to keep going. Right. And the thing is that you can't fake fitness. You can't fake it. It's the most visible proof of your discipline and self-respect. And that's why it's so important. That's why it's so important. If you guys, another book, I'm going to name all sorts of books today. Okay. Cause I'm one of those guys in the space that I'm not trying to tell you that I'm reinventing the wheel here. Okay. I've learned from lots of people. I have lots of mentors in this space. Rollo Tomasi is a mentor in my space, and shout out to Rollo, because Rollo gave me a shout out on his podcast yesterday, and I really appreciate that. But if you guys ever read Rich Cooper's book, The Unplugged Alpha, he talks about the concept of a golden ratio, right? And that's your shoulder width to hip ratio. And there's a golden ratio there that women are wired to respond to. Okay. Like women are wired to respond to a guy with a V taper. Okay. And so if you can get as close to that golden ratio as possible, women can't help but be attracted to a man that has a good physique like that. Now, you don't have to have six-pack abs. I would venture to say that V taper is more important than six-pack abs. Okay. So that means building up your shoulders and your lats and your chest, right? Like that will help you with that. And also not being a fat bastard. Okay. But that, because you're a girl, women can't see your abs through your shirt, right? But they can see that V taper, right? So that's probably more important. But that's just an example. Okay. It's that physical fitness is going to be a part of building up your entire mental frame. Okay. And the gym doesn't just build muscle, it trains your mind to push through resistance, and that bleeds into everything else in life. Okay. If you can lift heavy things and put them down, you could do other hard things in life that aren't as hard. Okay. And a man's in shape carries himself differently. He's certain, he's got confidence, and women can feel that instantly. Right? If you look good, you feel good. Okay. If you feel good, you do good. And when you do good, you get laid a lot. All right. Now, here's the problem that most guys don't even know that they're doing in a relationship, but they're nice guys. Most of us, a lot of the guys in my men's group, me included, we are recovering nice guys. A lot of you guys watching this show are recovering nice guys. Okay. Some of you guys that are new to the channel don't even know what that even means, right? You've probably heard the term. You're like, oh yeah, women go for jerks and assholes. But I'm a nice guy. I'm different. I'm different from those guys. But that's not working out for you, right? Like you keep getting dumped, you keep getting ghosted, you keep getting like all these problems. You get your wife walks all over you, and you she's not fucking you anymore. All that kind of stuff largely comes from what Dr. Robert Glover refers to as nice guy syndrome. And nice guy syndrome really isn't about being kind, right? There's nothing wrong with being kind. So like I say this a lot, you don't have to be an asshole. You don't have to be a jerk, but you can never be a nice guy. Okay. That means like you could be kind, but not be a doormat and let people walk all over you. Okay. So it's about abandoning, it's about, nice guy syndrome really is about abandoning your own needs and trying to manage someone else's emotions and stuff like that. And the more you bend to avoid conflict, the less she respects you. And even she doesn't know why. She doesn't know why. Well, I told you guys at the beginning, it's because women are security-seeking creatures that respond to strength. And nice guys are weak. They are perceived as weak, right? This is why nice guys will do anything to avoid conflict. They're very conflict avoidant. This is where like happy wife, happy life comes in. This is where you end up walking on eggshells and you're trying to avoid making your wife mad at all costs. And you start doing caretaking type stuff to try to keep her happy at all costs and stuff like that. That's nice guy behavior. And women don't like it. Like women like instinctively gives them the ick. And they're like, I don't get this. This guy lets me walk all over him. He has no boundaries. And so then women are happy to manipulate men like that. They're like, okay, well, he's giving me shit. Well, I'm not going to give him anything in return, which builds up resentment because all this stuff that you're doing is what we call a covert contract. We were going through this in the Wolfpack this morning. And because one of the brothers was really upset with his wife because he took her on this fancy date that he booked a year in advance. And he took her out on this date and his wife wouldn't put the phone down and he was pissed off about it. But he never clearly told her, hey, no phones on this. Okay, we are spending time together. No phones. Leave your phone in the car. Like he didn't articulate that. He just expected her to know this because, well, I shouldn't have to tell her, right? I want you guys to put yourself in her shoes for a minute. Have you ever had your wife be mad at you and you didn't understand why she was mad at you because she never said anything and she expected you to read her mind? That's what covert contracts are. You're expecting her to read your mind because you're expecting these different things without articulating it. That's by definition what a covert contract is. So then he was saying, well, what I did was I took my phone out and then I put it down so that she would see it. And like I made a big dramatic thing so that she would see. That's passive aggressiveness, which is also nice guy behavior because you're upset with this and you're expecting her to get it. You're acting like a woman, right? Women do this kind of shit. They expect you to read their minds. They do passive aggressive stuff and do hinting at shit, expecting you to just know. And then when you don't, they're mad at you about it. And then you don't know what you even did because she never told you, right? That's literally what you're doing when you're doing covert contract shit. Okay. So that's classic nice guy behavior. But the thing is that women, they don't want guys that they can walk all over. Okay. This goes to what I talk about in Get Her to Fuck You Again, which is my book on dead bedroom situations. Okay. I talk about the 5 stages of the betaization process. Step 1 is testing the male. Okay. Testing the male. We call them shit tests in this space often. And a lot of guys think, oh, it's because women are being shitty. It's not. They're testing to see if you have your shit together. Another word for shit tests is frame checks. Okay. Remember I said frame is everything and she wants to be able to rest in your frame. Women will test you to see how strong your frame is and they don't want to win. They want you to tell them no. They want you to be direct and say, put your fucking phone away. Okay. You don't have to drop the F-bomb, but I was a sailor, so I'm just really good at it. Okay. So women don't want to win. They don't want to win. And the more you can realize that, and you learn how to handle shit tests with indifference, agree and amplify, direct communication, like all that kind of stuff, the more she might get frustrated in the moment because she's not getting her way. But then 30 minutes later, she's going to love you for it. She's going to crawl into your fucking lap because you're a strong man that didn't let her walk all over you. If she can manipulate you, she has no respect for you. She'll walk all over you and she'll eventually push you down the betaization process until she gets so sick of you that she either cheats on you and leaves. Okay. So as long as you can stay at the beginning of the betaization process, you're in a good position. Okay. And that's where you can never get complacent, right? Which brings me to what we're talking about today, which is chapter 1 in my book. Where do I even have it uploaded here? Do I have it? Oh, fuck. I don't even have it uploaded here. We're talking about this book today, right? Keep Your Bitch, which is it's the 3rd book in my Red Pill Guide series, which came out in December. I haven't really been talking about it that much, but over the next 10 weeks, so starting today, we're going to go through all 10 chapters and essentially what we're talking about. I'm going to give you way more information with just running my mouth about the concepts. But if you guys really want to read it, you can get it on Amazon Audible. The link's in the description on most platforms. Otherwise, you can find it on Amazon or Audible. Let me drop a link to that here. I have a commercial for it, but I don't have it uploaded because I haven't been talking about it. But you can get the book here. And then like every other book in the Red Pill Guide series, I'll drop a link here too in the chat. There's also a workbook that goes with it. So all 3 books in the Red Pill Guide series all have a matching workbook. And if you guys really want to make this a part of who you are so that you never fall into complacency, I highly recommend that you guys, either read the book or, if you prefer Audible, listen to it at least 10 to 15 times. And then do the workbook. The workbook will take you like 10 minutes a day, but it really will draw out some of these things that you don't even realize that you're doing, right? The same guy that I was talking about earlier in the Wolfpack that didn't realize he was doing a covert contract, he's going through the workbook, and he was telling us in the Wolfpack the other day that he's like, dude, this workbook really is bringing out stuff that I didn't even realize I was doing, So it's like, if the audiobook or the book of Keep Your Bitch by itself, it's kind of like, starting a nice little campfire. But the workbook is like throwing fucking gasoline on that son of a bitch. Okay. So get the book, guys. So let's talk about boundaries for a minute. Boundaries. A lot of guys don't realize what boundaries are. A lot of people think being assertive and setting boundaries means being controlling, like telling her what she can and can't do. Boundaries aren't really about that. Boundaries aren't about control. They're about self-respect and what you're willing to tolerate. Okay. You'll see a lot of guys in the black pill space or the MGTOW space complaining about women and all this kind of stuff. But you got to understand that women are only as shitty as we allow them to be. Okay. Women are only as shitty as we allow them to be. And when you don't allow that kind of behavior, that's setting boundaries. Okay. So, and also a good boundary isn't, you can't do something. It's, I will not be with a woman that does this thing. Right. So a good example of this is, so going back to my brother, we're probably going to pick on my Wolfpack brother a little bit today, just because it's apropos. But let's say you set that boundary of, hey, we're going on a date tonight, no phones allowed. Okay. Now that you might say, well, isn't that telling her what to do? No. She could bring her phone. She could even try to bring it into the venue and pull it out. But enforcing that boundary is, well, I told you that we're not doing phones and you decided to do that. Okay, cool. Well, we're not going on a date now. I'm going out, but you can stay here. Okay. Like I'm not going to be on a date with you when you have your phone out, right? That's setting the boundary. And then when she decides to do it, you enforce that boundary by taking her home, right? So a good example I gave him in the pack was, okay, you tell her, hey, we're going out for a date, no phones allowed. And she instead, no, I got to bring my phone because of X, Y, and Z. Be like, okay, well, you can bring that phone. Like if you insist on that phone, I'm not taking you with me. I'm going out still though. Okay. That's, I'm not willing to tolerate being out with you when you're on your fucking phone. Okay. It's disrespectful. I'm not going to allow that. And then if she agrees to that, goes, yeah, sure. And then as you're getting out of the car, she grabs her phone and you say, hey, I said no phones. And she goes, yeah, but I'm just going to bring this in real quick. Just say, you know what? Let's go. Take her ass back home. Okay. The thing is that a lot of guys are afraid to do that kind of shit, right? They're afraid to set and enforce boundaries, but she'll respect you 20 times more when you do that kind of shit. Okay. So, and every time you let something slide that you shouldn't, you chip away at your own edge and teach people that your word's meaningless. Okay. It's kind of like, what a lot of guys think boundaries are too is ultimatums, right? Well, if you do this, I'm going to do this. Right. And then if you don't make good on that, then she's going to realize that your words doesn't mean shit. Right. So you have to make good on any kind of bound or any kind of ultimatum that you set. But you got to realize too, that an ultimatum is a declaration of powerlessness. You basically have run out of all options, and she'll respect you even less if you have to resort to ultimatums. It's kind of unfortunate. Right. But, going back to the beginning of the betaization process, you have to understand that women test you. And a lot of guys will look at this like it's a negative thing. It's a negative thing, but it's not. It's not a negative thing. It's wiring. It's just what women do. Okay. They can't help it. And all women test men either consciously or subconsciously. You can't avoid it. So you might as well learn how to handle it. And a lot of guys are like, well, if a bitch tests me, I'm going to fucking dump her and find someone else. okay, but that next chick's going to do it too. So you can't avoid it. Okay. Some women test less than others. Usually the women that test less have, they really find you attractive. They, all that kind of stuff. And so they'll test you less, but they'll still do it. And then a lot of the times you might be even passing these tests and not realizing it. Right. And that's the thing with these tests is it's only a test if you fail it. If you pass the test, she just thinks that's how a man's supposed to act. And it was never a test at all for her. Right. It's kind of a weird thing. Okay. But every emotional push, every argument, every moment she tries to rattle you is a subconscious question. Can I trust him to set the tone and lead? Okay. And if you crumble, she starts losing faith in you. And if you hold steady, she relaxes and respects you more than before. Okay. And the tests never end. They might get infrequent, but they never fully go away. So your job is to stay in your frame. Okay. Frame is everything. And as long as you stay in your frame and never let her rattle you, she's going to feel more safe and secure. And she's never going to try to push you down the betatization process. It all starts with frame. Okay. By the way, if you guys find value in any of these things, do consider sending us super chats. I know, I'm not eligible for monetization on Kick yet, but apparently you only have to stream 5 hours and you become eligible. So I don't know, in 5 episodes, you guys on Kick can start throwing your boys some money if you guys are getting value out of this stuff. So let's talk about emotional control. All right. Emotional control is your greatest weapon. Weak men think emotional control means bottling things up, like suppression and stuff like that. But it actually means choosing your response instead of reacting. Okay. It's the difference between responding from logic instead of reacting from emotion. A lot of guys think that they're being logical, but they're not. Okay. If your gut instinct is to get into an argument with your wife because you think she's wrong about something and now you want to argue your point, you're reacting from emotion. Okay. You're reacting from emotion. When you realize that almost everything she's doing is just a shit test, you stop even arguing with her. You let her be wrong. Fuck it. I don't care. Like she's so adorable. She's so adorable, right? When you have that mentality, she's not even able to get you into your emotions because you find her cute and adorable, right? So the man who stays calm when everyone else is losing it automatically becomes the one people look to for direction, right? Have you ever, one thing I taught my kids since they were little, and if you ask any of them, like, I have 2 kids. If you ask them now, my daughter, she's 21. My son's just turned 17. If you ask them, what happens when you panic? They'll both go, you'll die. Right? Because I've told them since they were little kids, if you panic, you die. If you panic, you die. Right? Because when you're panicking, you're getting yourself into fight, flight, or freeze, right? You're reacting from instinct because you're afraid of the situation. But if you can maintain cool and chill in a crisis, people start looking to you for your strength, right? You're able to mentally handle the situation. People start looking to you for direction because they don't know what to do. Okay. If you can develop that in yourself, you can handle whatever bullshit your girl says, throws your way, right? So in a relationship, your calmness is her anchor, right? When you stop being rattled, she stops being super emotional. Well, that never fully goes away. She might still be emotional, but she doesn't want you climbing on her emotional roller coaster. Okay. So if she's all being neurotic and fucking whammony because she's being controlled by all these hormones in her body and you're fucking steady during all that kind of stuff, she really will respond to that strength and relax more because she knows that you got shit handled. Right. And that's what almost all this kind of stuff is. She wants to know that you have life handled. Right. That's what we were talking about in the beginning. I mentioned the Wolfpack before, and we were talking a little bit about the brothers in Wolfpack and stuff like that. Wolfpack, you guys don't understand. Wolfpack is the best place to get in and swap notes. And like the guys who really get value out of it are guys that share their updates. They talk about the struggles that they're dealing with, what's pissing them off and stuff like that. Because you can't see the forest for the trees when you're in the middle of it, right? When you're in the middle of the forest dealing with this bullshit, it helps to have guys who are standing on the outside of the forest telling you what the forest looks like. Right. And so if you don't have that, you're a lot of you guys are really just going to be spinning your wheels. You're going to have no awareness of what you're even doing, right or wrong, in a relationship. So I highly recommend that you guys get in the wolf pack.
Bear Club? Not anymore.
Home, midlife drift, feeling alone. You don't need hacks, blogs, lies. You need men with fire in their eyes. We rebuild from the ground up. No excuses, no soft stuff. Telegram lit 24/7. Brothers locked in steel, not heaven. Step inside the pack. We don't fall, we attack. Truth, fire, presence, we bring it back. Masculine pride, no time to slack. Step inside the pack. Drop your past, claim your track. No therapy talk, no playing small. We sharpen blades, we take it all.
For the love of God, too sweet me. Let's look at the chat here. Nurse Chick's in the house. She says, good morning, gentlemen. Nurse Chick always gets this.
I'm so naughty.
Oh, she is.
I'm gonna come.
Oh, I will.
Pussy must be ridiculous.
Guys, it is. It is absolutely ridiculous. Erkin's in the house. Hey, Erkin, we didn't see you in the wolf pack Saturday, man. We missed you. Rob's in the house. Salutations. Good to see you, Rob. Brother Joe's in the house. He says, mission is figuring that out at the moment. Fair enough. Fair enough. And then CJ says, I achieved God realization a few years ago, so I'm out of the matrix. Material, maternal, matrimony, matriarchal. So are you one with everything? Are you like, you realize that the universe is all just one thing and you're just fucking one with it, right? And you don't need any material anymore because you're a part of you're a part of a particle and shit. Like, I don't know. Like, what does that mean? I like to talk about that woo-woo shit on Frame Fridays. Come on, this is Monday, guys. Speaking of Monday, Dar Fitness is in the house. He says, happy Monday, gents. Good to see you, brother. And he says, smashing that like button is alpha as fuck. It's smashing like is alpha as fuck, guys. And it's free. If you guys can't afford a super chat, at least smash that like button, would you? And Omega Hashira's in the house. He goes, this is where Frame comes into massive play. Yeah, there's a reason why Frame is Iron Rule of Tomasi #1. It really is everything. Frame really is everything. Once you get that down, almost everything else falls into place. You guys, I think I've said it on the podcast before. A good friend of mine, John from Modern Life Dating, John MLD. MLD, he coined the term money, muscles, game, and frame, right? He says if guys really want to be the total package, they have to optimize money, muscles, game, and frame. I think it's back. I think he's had it backwards from the beginning, right? It's frame, game, muscles, then money. And that money's for you. It's not for her. Okay. You guys got to stop leading with your wallet and trying to oppress women with your fucking money. Like that's how you attract gold diggers, and that's how you get used for your money. Okay. If you guys are still on the fence about that and you're still arguing that women only like men for their money, subscribe to the podcast. I'll break it. I break it down quite a bit. Brother Kamal's in the house. He says, being like the oak tree is even better than being stoic. Yes, I agree. And then Brother Joe said a $5,000 super chat. He says, I'm getting value. I appreciate it, brother. I'm going to give him this one.
I was just going to say it. This guy fucks. Am I right?
Yeah, he definitely fucks for saying that. Appreciate that, man. And then Omega says, strong winds just bounce off the deep-rooted oak tree. It is immutable. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys. So we talked about Wolfpack. So we only have two concepts left. Discipline. Discipline is the fuel behind it all. Okay. You guys got to understand that discipline is greater than motivation. A lot of guys are motivated to do this stuff, but they're not disciplined to keep it going. Right. And one of the things that I learned from one of my mentors in the space, Coach Corey Wayne, right, is that the work never stops. The work never stops. And I said at the beginning, a lot of guys think that once they get into a relationship, they've reached some kind of mythical finish line. They don't have to do anything anymore, right? And I know that because I was that guy for years. Like, I'm a recovering nice guy. And so like I thought, you know, when I was married, well, I don't have to impress her anymore. I already got her. She's not going anywhere. Like, once you put a ring on it, they're not going anywhere. The divorce courts will show you otherwise if you are not constantly doing the work. Okay. We got another guy in Wolfpack who I'm not going to name names, and I don't know what he's doing. I haven't heard from him in a while, but I have heard that he's not really doing the work anymore, right? Like, one of the reasons why he joined Wolfpack was because his wife was basically told him, like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. And she even told him, I'm going to get on the dating apps and go find someone else. And that's when he decided, I'm going to start working on my marriage. And he got into the Wolfpack and started reading Get Her to Fuck You Again. And for probably a good month or maybe even 2 months, he was solidly putting in the work, going to the gym and like working on his frame and all this kind of stuff. But apparently lately, a lot of that's been sliding, right? And that will happen if you are waiting to be motivated to do any of this stuff, okay? Discipline is greater than motivation because you do it whether you want to or not. You realize, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to always keep working on myself. Brother Nathan from Wolfpack says, I get to work on myself every day. I get to keep improving, right? You got to look at it as a positive. I get to keep getting better. Like, a man, his value never goes away as he gets older. That's only true if you're always working on improving yourself. Okay. Women are born with their value, right? They're born with being able to bring life into this world. And as long as they're reasonably attractive, they are born with their value, and they just get shit handed to them. Right. And, but men have to earn their value. Men have a burden of performance. And so if you don't keep working on yourself for the rest of your life and always trying to be the best possible version of yourself for you, then that's the whole concept of men only gain value as they get older is fucking bullshit. Okay. It's just not true. You'll see lots of guys letting themselves go into old age, getting older, getting fatter, just, whatever. And it's funny because you can see guys that are in their fucking 70s that are ripped, that are in great shape. They're still making tons of money. And then you see old guys that just let themselves go because they've built up this idea of like, well, I'm an old man now. It's two different mindsets, right? It's funny. Love my dad, but like, conversations always end up turning into politics over at my parents' house. But Nurse Chick and I, we were over at my parents' house last night, hanging out with my parents for dinner. And it's funny because they're talking about Trump, and they mentioned like how old he was. And they're like, oh, geez, he's 79, right? And he's still going. He's still like driven. He's still purpose driven. He's the fucking president of the United States, whether you like him or not. That's for another show. I'm not trying to get into politics here, right? But he's an older guy that's still going. He's still mentally sharp, and he's still like purpose driven. And then you have my dad, who's retired, who has all these medical problems, all these health problems, all this stuff, because he's never my dad's never really worked out in his entire life. Right. Like the closest thing to a workout is he'll go for a walk occasionally, and he'll do, maybe some yard work or whatever, but he's really not trying to stay in shape. He's not really trying to work on his physical health and his physical fitness or anything like that. He's never been that guy. Okay. Now you might argue that Trump isn't necessarily a physical specimen either, but he's driven in other ways. He's always working on his mind. He's always, got projects going on. He's not just given up on life. You know what I mean? There's two different types of things, and that's where discipline comes in. Okay. Getting all like going off on this tangent, going back to this, that's where discipline comes in. It means you do shit because it needs to get done. And the thing with motivation is it's emotional. It's like, I either feel like it or I don't feel like it. And when you don't feel like it, you don't do what you need to do, right? I'm not going to do that today because I don't feel like it, right? One thing that like years ago, I made a promise to myself that I was going to work out Monday through Friday, no matter what. And if I can't work out during a day because something's going on, maybe I'm too busy, I got too much shit going on, I at least make it up on the weekend, right? I'm like, I can't do it today, but because I made a promise to myself, I'm doing it on Saturday. which happened on Friday. I was working on so much shit. I was working on my next book, which is called Dick Her Down. Dick Her Down Right is what the new book's called. I just finished it this weekend, but I've been really working hard to get that finished so that I can get it to Nurse Chick to start editing it. So she needs the rest of this month to do that. Then at the beginning of May, I need to start formatting it for Amazon, and then I got to spend all of May recording it for the audiobook. And so I can release it in June. It's a lot of fucking work. So working on that kind of stuff, working on edits and video clips and shit like that. My day was just completely packed on Friday. And so I went for a bike ride. I still worked out, but I didn't get my fitness training, like my strength training in. So I told the guys in Wolfpack, I'm going to make it up tomorrow on Saturday. They'll give me shit about it, but I still did it. I still accomplished that goal on Saturday, right? That's the difference between discipline and motivation. Like, I might not feel like it, but I made a promise. I'm going to fucking do it anyway. Okay. So confidence, frame, fitness, boundaries, none of it holds without discipline as the foundation. And every time you break a promise to yourself, you're quietly telling your own subconscious that you can't even be trusted. I can't even trust you to follow through on this goal, self, because you're not even following through on the promises you made. Okay. So discipline, it's not punishment. It's the proof you give yourself that you're a man who follows through. You're a man who's a man of your word. Okay. You're a man of your word. You got to do that for yourself first before anyone else will believe it. Right. And if you consistently prove to yourself that I'm not reliable because I can't follow through on the shit I promised I would do, why would your wife or girlfriend fucking believe it? Like, think about that. Why would they trust you to follow through on shit if you can't even follow through on the shit that you promised yourself you would do? Okay. Like, I want you guys to really think about this kind of stuff. Okay. Because it matters. It matters. If you never want to get complacent in your relationships again, that shit matters. Okay. All right. By the way, guys, follow me on social media. I'm not on Twitter anymore. I'm basically on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram now. I'm only on those platforms. I'm not gonna try to rebuild X. Fuck those guys. So like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm now streaming to Kick. So if you guys are watching on Kick right now, give me a follow, would you? The world bends to the man who won't bend for it. Okay. When your confidence, purpose, frame, and discipline all align, you stop performing. You just exist as a man who knows his own worth. Okay. You stop chasing approval because you're already living from conviction. You don't need other people's validations. You don't need other people's buy-in on shit. You fucking know who you are, what your values are, and what you're working towards. And you don't give a fuck, right? That kind of shit it matters. It matters. And it's not really about being an arrogant guy. It's the certainty that makes people follow you without you ever having to ask. Okay. This is like a lot of guys ask me, like, how do I get my woman to follow my lead? How do I make her submit to me and all this kind of stuff? You can't make her do this kind of stuff, right? You can't negotiate genuine desire, any of that stuff. All that kind of stuff has to be inspired by your own actions. Okay. And when you can be this guy, people naturally want to follow your lead. Okay. That's what having a dominant masculine presence is all about. Okay. So that's what chapter 1 is in Keep Your Bitch. And it's the foundation of everything. Once you can get that, everything else in the book makes sense. We're going to be going through it over the next several weeks. Okay. But that's all we got for this episode. That's all we got for chapter 1. Those are basically the top 10 concepts. If you guys haven't yet, Keep Your Bitch. I dropped it in December. You can get it on Amazon or Audible. The links are in the description for all my books. Okay. Let's see what the guys are saying in the chat, and then we'll wrap up here. Omega said this already. Strong winds just bounce off the deep root oak tree. Erkin says, what is your channel on Kick? I didn't find it. What happened to your Twitter? This was the second one. Let me, are you on Kick? I mean, you watch me on YouTube. You don't necessarily have to follow me there. But it's Come On Man Pod is my name. I'm live right now. In fact, I'm probably going to fuck things up. I'll drop a link to my Kick channel here. This is my Kick channel, guys. Kick.com/ComeOnManPod. I'll bring that up here. So if you guys do like watching stuff on Kick, maybe you like it better than YouTube or whatever, cool. You can follow me there at kick.com/comeonmanpod now. All right, guys, that's all I got. Tune into the podcast on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about why you recreate bad relationships after divorce. Okay, so for you guys who are just thinking about divorcing your wife, like instead of, yeah, fuck it. I'm not like, she's not fucking me anymore. I'm just going to dump her, bro. Right. Okay. But most guys never do the work on themselves and they end up dating the same person over and over again with just a different face. Okay. So we're going to talk about that, why you recreate bad relationships after a breakup or a divorce. And then for you guys who are out dating after divorce, that's really going to be the episode for you because Wednesdays are breakup Wednesdays, right? So it's for guys who are, getting past a divorce or a breakup and now they're maybe back on the dating circuit. It's going to be a cautionary episode for you on why you need to do this work so that you never end up in the space again. So it really goes hand in hand with this book, but this book is really designed for guys who are in a new relationship after a divorce and they don't want to screw that one up, right? Or they've turned their relationship around. They read the first book, Get Her to Fuck You Again. Their wife is actually responding well, and they want to make sure that they keep that going for the long term. That's what Keep Your Bitches for, right? So the Red Pill Guide series is kind of like a which way series, like where are you at in your relationship situation, okay? So tune into that on Wednesday. It should be a good one. But that's all we got, guys. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. We will see you guys next time.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.